Everybody wants 25-year-old boys to throw weights around for $10 a month instead of going after people like me, frankly, who are a little bit older, but have the time and the money to be better customers. So tell us about the purpose of the summit in general.
Yeah, the purpose of the summit, gosh, this is the 11th annual, kind of mind-blowing to think our summit's almost becoming a teenager here.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jay Croft, and welcome to the Optimal Aging Podcast, where we discuss the business of exercise, healthy living, and well-being for people 50 and over. Each week, we explore what healthy living means for millions of people over age 50 and what's coming next, with a focus on communications, content, and making powerful connections. The Functional Aging Institute is having its annual Functional Aging Summit online, Friday and Saturday. You can learn more about it and register at functionalagingsummit.com. I think it's a great idea to do it online, even if you hear about the summit later after this weekend, you can still go online and purchase the entire presentation. So the information is accessible to you, even if you don't get to tune in, so to speak, this Friday and Saturday. They'll have a lot of speakers, a couple dozen from fitness, who will help you with your finances, with your training, with your outreach, everything really. And I'll be speaking about how to keep your storytelling focused where it belongs, which is on your members and not on yourself. So I'll be speaking Friday morning. I hope you'll tune in to listen to what I have to say, but also to all the other great speakers. And again, you can learn more about it at functionalagingsummit.com. Now, today on Optimal Aging, I have Dr. Dan Ritchie from all those years ago, who has been a great supporter of PrimeFit content and of this show ever since the beginning, as has Dr. Cody Sipe, Celia, and everyone at Functional Aging. So wanted to have Dan on to preview this weekend's activities, and hopefully you'll all be encouraged to check it out. It changed my career, changed my business for the better, and it's still one of the most important organizations I've encountered in helping other fitness professionals help more people over 50 live better lives. So enjoy my conversation with Dr. Dan Ritchie. Thanks. Dan, hey there. Nice to see you again. How's it going?
It's going great. Good to see you. How are you?
I'm doing all right. It's a nice Saturday morning here in Atlanta, and just about to head out to start my day.
Yeah, a beautiful day here in Indiana. We'll see. It'll probably rain because it's been raining almost every day for about 4 or 5 days, but it's been a nice week.
Well, we're here today to talk about the Functional Aging Summit, which is coming up really soon. We probably should have had this conversation a little while ago, but better late than never, I suppose. Thanks for joining me to talk about it. I never get tired of talking about the Functional Aging Summit because it was at the Functional Aging Summit in 2018 in Orlando, where I met you and Cody and Celia and Paulo and Dina and Rosa and Shelley and all these people who changed my life in the course of my career. And so I want to tell everybody who might not know what the Functional Aging Summit is, what it is, and why they really should tune in as opposed to attend. Now, doing it in Orlando, last year we did it in, where was it? Los Angeles?
Los Angeles last year, yeah. Salt Lake City the year before that.
Yeah. So tell us about this, the summit, and why people should tune in.
We've been making the rounds, and this year it's available to everyone everywhere in the entire world, right? So you don't have to travel, which is nice. One of the reasons we wanted to do it virtual again was just to give more opportunity to more people that can't travel. In 2020 and 2021, we were kind of forced to do it virtually, which I know a lot of us didn't necessarily enjoy, but we had the most attendance we've ever had by far because, people that can't travel. I heard from single moms in Canada who were like, do it again virtual because I can't leave my kids, or I can't leave my studio, or I can't take 3 days off of work. So there's a lot of advantages to virtual. There's also a lot of advantages in that we can get more speakers than ever. So if you look at our speaker lineup, it's more diverse than ever because the cost to travel and speak in an event is significant, right? So we can't always get all the speakers we want because they're like, oh, those dates don't work for me, or I can't possibly be in Salt Lake City if my daughter's getting married somewhere else. It's like, so virtual just allows for a greater opportunity of speakers, networking, and cost. I mean, way more people can attend because the cost of the ticket is lower and the cost of travel is zero. Now, I know some people that are traveling because they're like, hey, I'm going to make a weekend of it, right?
Yeah.
So they're Airbnb-ing it somewhere with their staff, or, they're turning it into a weekend retreat with their training team, which is a great idea, right? I mean, that works too if you still want to make it sort of a weekend event.
Wait, where is the actual weekend event?
It's wherever you want it to be, right, Jay? So if your team is in Corpus Christi, Texas, and you're like, hey, let's go to the beach, or let's go to the mountains, or wherever we want to go, right? So I know Bruno with Still Got It Fitness has done this in the past, where he'll take his whole team to an Airbnb on the beach, or they'll go up in the mountains in California.
Oh,
And you
okay.
business expense the whole thing because it's a conference, right? So
Gotcha.
I know we have some people doing that because people are like, oh, I don't get to travel. You can still travel if you want to. All you need is a screen to take in the conference. So
Okay. I misunderstood you. I thought there was
so
maybe.
there is that aspect for people that want to make it a business. They like the business trip, so to speak. But the virtual also just gives you a little bit more freedom, right? You can be at your studio Friday morning and then take in the sessions Friday afternoon and all day Saturday, and not feel like you had to leave, training your clients and that sort of thing.
And does the registration fee make available recordings as well?
So it's $49 extra to get all the recordings forever. So I've been encouraging everyone to upgrade because that's the other advantage of a virtual conference, right? When you were in LA, you probably remember, I mean, you were speaking. If you were lucky, you probably took in 10 or 12 sessions, right? Even though there were 30 to choose from. Well, you
Right.
can't be in 3 rooms at the same time. And of course, if you're speaking in one, you're probably preparing for that before. And while you're speaking, you can't be in other sessions. If you buy the recordings for $49, you get access to all the sessions,
Okay.
which again, in a live event, you're always like, oh, I'm going to miss that one, or I really want to go to this one, or the 3 I really want to attend are all at the same time. That's going to happen with our virtual conference. But if you have the recordings, right, you can, of course, you want to see Jay's session, right? Like that one's first and foremost, but then whatever's going on at the same time, you have the recordings later, right? So you can watch me later, you don't need to watch me live, take that one in later. So that's a big advantage, I think, because a lot of times some of the best sessions you simply can't attend because you can't catch them all. So I love that aspect.
Okay, let's take the 30,000-foot view for anybody out there who might not know. What is this about? You're going to teach people about the opportunity for gym owners and others in fitness that lies within the quote unquote older market, basically, right? But you also get some training credits and some all these things. But tell us about the main purpose of this. That this is such a huge economic opportunity that the mainstream fitness industry still ignores to its detriment. Everybody wants 25-year-old boys to throw weights around for $10 a month instead of going after people like me, frankly, who are a little bit older, but have the time and the money to be better customers. So tell us about the purpose of the summit in general.
Yeah, the purpose of the summit, gosh, this is the 11th annual, kind of mind-blowing to think our summit's almost becoming a teenager here. When we look back, 2015, Cody and I looked across the industry and we're like, there are no fitness events, aging events, healthy aging events. There's nothing focused on this market. There were a few fitness conferences that had a couple of senior fitness sessions, right? And a lot of times Cody and I would be on the senior fitness track, or there might only be one talk in an entire conference of 50 sessions on, again, senior fitness, which Cody and I always said is the wrong label, right?
Yes.
Because people in their 60s don't think of themselves as seniors at all. Their mom is a senior. People in their early 70s a lot of times have not embraced that term. My mother-in-law's 77. Don't call her a senior. She might slap you, right?
That's right.
Just talking about your Medicare, whatever. So I feel like I'm 37. So Cody and I said, we have to have an event that really combines two things, right? And so for us, we're really about 2 core pillars. One is, how do we train people over 50 and train them well, right? So there's the functional training aspect, How do we give them great results? How do we train them safely? How do we make sure trainers feel confident to do it? Not this, oh, I don't want to train old people because I might break them or kill them. Right.
Right.
Jay Croft, he's sitting here. Does anybody think they're going to kill him training him? I mean, it's ridiculous, right?
Right.
I'm in my 50s. You're in your 60s. Nobody's going to kill us. I mean, unless they, try to throw us off a cliff or something, do something really stupid training, right? But they need confidence. The other pillar, which most fitness conferences do poorly as a whole, is the business side.
Yeah.
Right? Marketing, communication, messaging, sales, all the things that you came to the Functional Aging Summit the first time saying, hey, I don't think I fit here. I'm a professional writer. I'm like, you absolutely fit here, because most fitness people don't know how to write to people over the age of 50 at all, right?
At all.
You've probably seen a lot of fitness messages over the years where you're like, that's terrible, right?
Terrible.
So we try to bring both of those together, the fitness trainer, the fitness entrepreneur, the fitness studio owner. There's a massive market of people over 50, 60, 70 years old that aren't being communicated to, aren't being marketed to, aren't being trained, aren't being offered any sort of solution. And that's just a huge missed opportunity.
Hey, are you a fitness professional trying to grow your business with people over 50? If you are, then you need to know how to communicate with them, how to market to them, and how to get them to trust you with their fitness, well-being, and money. We're talking about millions of people who are a little older than the typical market that the fitness industry usually pursues. They have more money, more time, and better motivation to make the best long-term fitness consumers you'll find anywhere. If you're not focusing on them, you should be. Prime Fit Content is the only content marketing company designed specifically to help you engage people in this group and to help you distinguish yourself from competitors in your community. It's effective, affordable, and super easy to use. Check it out at primefitcontent.com. That's prime, like prime of your life, fitcontent.com. Back to the show. It is, and it's that missed opportunity, I think, gets lost a lot in these conversations. Sometimes, this used to happen a lot when I first started doing this, and it still happens sometimes. People will say, oh, you help old people exercise. That's so nice. And I want to say, no, it might be nice. I don't care if it's nice. That doesn't matter. It's just smart business. Get being nice. I'm not helping a little old lady cross the street. That's not what we're talking about.
Nobody says that to the Mercedes dealer.
Right.
It's like, oh, that's really nice that you sell Mercedes to, and nobody would even say little old ladies. It's like,
right.
No, you sell Mercedes to badass boomer women, right? I mean, it's like, but if I do fitness for those same people,
yeah,
well, isn't that sweet that you're taking care of I'm like, there's nothing sweet about it, right?
Yeah.
Sure, there might be a level. I always say the trainer does have to understand what a 60 and 70-year-old body is going through.
Yeah.
They need to be some level of, compassion and understanding and being like, hey, I can't just beat your knees up because they're already beat up. But I'm not doing it to be nice. I'm doing it to serve a population that, oh, by the way, has time and money. They're a great customer and I can give them great results. So at the end of the day, business is about solving somebody's problem. And there are a lot of people in their 60s and 70s that have health problems that we can solve dramatically, right? Mm-hmm. So I think if you're a trainer listening to this and you're like, oh, I don't like it when Dr. Dan talks about money, and some people get uncomfortable, right? Yeah. First of all, get more comfortable with money. Yeah. But second of all, you will find it very rewarding to work with these people because you can get them life-changing results and they will listen and they will show up time and time again. That's the other thing. If they sign up for 2 or 3 sessions a week, they'll do it. They're reliable, right? They're not like, oh, I can't make it because I just ordered takeout. It's like, no, they have an appointment. They will be there.
Yes, exactly. And, you touched on something that just made me remember what I love as a writer, writing about this all the time, is the stories are so profound and so emotional and genuine. Now, I think that any trainer in the world can help a 25-year-old boy get big muscles or help a 30-year-old new mom lose her baby weight. That's just kind of table stakes. You all know how to do that. Big deal, right? I mean, it's important and I'm glad you can do it. And don't get me wrong, it's great.
Yeah, keep doing that stuff. That's
keep
fine.
Doing it. Yeah. But, the richer story, the greater experience, I think, is helping a recently retired accountant be able to play with her grandchildren, or that wonderful story you tell about your client who wanted to go to the Galapagos Islands and she was just so deconditioned she could barely check the mail, and you made it possible for her to go on this once in a lifetime trip in her 60s or 70s. Those are
She was 80. She was 80, Jay.
she was 80.
Yeah. Yeah. And I still share that story because it wasn't just that we got her to the Galapagos. That's the beautiful story, right?
Yeah.
It's that we trained her till she was 87. We couldn't get rid of her as a client, right? I was like, Joanne, you're still coming? Why would she quit, right? And that's the thing. That's the beauty of the Functional Aging Summit is we're teaching people how to get clients like Joanne, train them well, and then you have a customer for 5, 7, 10 years, right? That is the real business value, right? That's why I want to sell a Mercedes to a boomer woman, because I know she's going to come back and buy another Mercedes
Sure.
in 3 or 4 years, right? She's a great customer. And in a lot of cases, she's a customer for a long time. The baby weight example you gave, of course, we got to train women to lose the baby weight, and we got to train guys that want to build big muscles. But if we do that well, we put ourselves out of a job, right? You lose the 20 pounds of baby weight. Thanks, done. I'm good. Right? Like, wait, I just put myself out of a client. That's not true with the 70-year-olds, right? They need you for the rest of their life, which is a beautiful thing. So,
yeah, exactly. So tell me about some of the folks who are speaking. I have presented live at a summit. I've presented virtually at a summit, and some of the names I know. There are some people I don't know. And so tell the folks, about some of these newcomers.
yeah, we've got a really diverse lineup this year. So some of our classics are back, like Diane Bailey is going to be teaching 10 things beginners need to know about Tai Chi. And, Tai Chi continues to be one of the more popular fitness programs for older adults. Why is that? Stress reduction, blood pressure, balance, fall prevention. It's gentle. It's low impact. It's just a beautiful form of exercise, and I know a lot of trainers are intimidated by it. Diane makes it so simple. Diane McCaughey, one of our longtime board members, is back. And then we have people who've never spoken at the summit before. Our 2 keynotes are brand new. Kurt Mang. Oh, gosh. I don't know if you've ever met him, Jay.
I have not.
This is the other beauty of a virtual summit is by the end of the weekend, you should go, gosh, that's somebody I got to track down. I got to figure out, I got to reach out to Celia or Dan and somebody introduce me, or find Kurt on LinkedIn, and you start building your network. Kurt would be a great guest on your podcast, Jay.
Good.
The energy, the passion, the enthusiasm that just oozes off of this guy, right, is going to come across even in the virtual keynote, because he loves helping people. He loves fitness. He loves leadership. He loves passion. And he is just one of the most, just bursting with passion kind of guys. And then Kyle Henning, who I believe you have met.
Yeah, I know Kyle.
I wouldn't describe Kyle at all the same as Kurt, right? In fact, there's nothing in his keynote that is going to jump out at you, except for the fact that here's a guy who basically broke his back at the end of his high school career. He's planning to go to med school, off to college. Now he's in a wheelchair, still did do pre-med. And he talks about that journey of, I became a college dropout to become a fitness entrepreneur, right? And my mom wasn't too happy with me. And his story is pretty amazing. It's equally inspiring, even though he's not like this just dripping with enthusiasm kind of guy. In fact, he will tell you, you should not be a fitness business owner if you're worried about being a fitness business owner. He's like, you got to be willing to jump in with full confidence, regardless of whether you're going to fail. His keynote's tremendous. Would have been awesome if we could have had him in person. He was scheduled to be in person, and COVID, of course, wrecked that. So
yeah.
Finally had him back. Robert Linkle is back. He has not, I don't think he's spoken at the summit since before COVID, and he's going to be talking about Fit Body Forever, which is a really great business model. Dr. Evan Osar's back. Kimberly Williams is back. Avery Van Blaricom.
Yeah, Shelley's guy.
Have you met Avery at one?
I have not, but I feel like I have because I've known Shelley for so long.
Yeah, he's been to some of the summits in person. Probably already wins the award for best mustache. So he's got that going for him. But he's from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, and he's the director of programming at Proactive Fitness. And Shelley Turk came to the first ever Functional Aging Summit. And this is just kind of a warning, Jay. People come to the summit and then they're like, this happens every year. This happened in Salt Lake City. It sort of cracked me up. I never knew that I could open a fitness business focused on older adults.
Yeah.
In fact, in Salt Lake, somebody said, I didn't know there was anyone else doing this besides me. And I'm like, well, I'm glad we got you out of your little corner of the world.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of us doing it. And now you got a bunch of people to run with. Avery has really come up and has developed tremendous programming for Shelly's business. And his session is going to be one of our top sessions. Shelly came to this very first summit in Phoenix, and she was terrified to leave her lab job in Canada, which she hated.
Yes.
But she knew she had to open a studio, and here we are 10 years later, and she's already talking about succession plans, right? I mean, it's like crazy to think that she's going to be moving on. Jake Tryon, I think it's his second time speaking at the summit. Fantastic. I mean, you can't meet a better human, honestly. Jake served in the Coast Guard for 20 years. He's just a tremendous guy and now owns 2 studios in the Houston area, and is looking to franchise his model, Try Fitness. And, you talk about a guy who understands the business opportunity, realizes, hey, these customers have some money, but his first and primary focus is you can tell it's very much driven by the Coast Guard. He's like, I just want to go out and help people, rescue people, serve people, take care of people. He builds community like no other. They do all kinds of, they go for walks together. They go to charity events together. They show up at fundraiser walks in like groups of 50. It's a tremendous thing that he has built.
Mm-hmm.
There are so many other speakers. To talk about the business side, Billy Hofacker, who I know you have met, he will talk honestly about how most fitness trainers don't know anything about money.
Yep.
And so they mess that part up, right? And then they think they're making money, but they're not, or they think they're saving money, and he will give you some solid tips from firsthand experience, right? He will probably share the story about how his car was pulled right out of his own driveway, right? He's like, wait a minute, what are you doing? We're repoing your car, buddy.
Yeah.
So not a good look for a business owner. So
no.
So we have a great lineup, a huge diversity of speakers. Again, Billy's a fitness business owner, but he's not going to talk to you about training or any of that. He's going to talk to you about money,
right?
Which might be one of the most important sessions. I know some people listening are like, I don't want to learn about money. I want to learn about training. Then you probably need to be learning about money. So
yes, exactly.
Like your session, Jay, you're not going to teach people about training, but you're going to teach people about just some of the simpler tips in terms of writing and communication and mistakes people are making. I think people get overwhelmed with, well, how do I send an email or put up a Facebook post or communicate who I do? And well, for one, they should hire you, Jay, right? Let's just give you a shout out. Prime Fit Content
Thank you.
Was born out of the Functional Aging Summit. It's another caution for people. If you attend, you may wind up starting some sort of a business related.
That's right. Danger.
I don't even know if I should come to your event. I don't do push-ups for older people. I'm not a trainer. I'm not a fitness owner. I'm like, I think there's something here for you. There turned out to be, and you have wind up serving, gosh, I don't even know how many of our FAI studio owners over the years. And
a lot of them, yeah.
I see your emails come out because I'm on a lot of their lists, and I'm like, oh, beautifully written email, right? Well crafted, so we don't expect fitness trainers to be professional writers,
right?
Any more than we expect professional writers to be personal trainers,
right?
So learning from someone like you at the summit is super helpful. And then, of course, realizing, wait a minute, I can hire this guy to do all of my writing for me for a fraction of what it would cost me to, So a lot of tremendous resources. The downside to virtual, Jay, is you don't get to meet everyone.
Yeah.
The upside to virtual is you actually have the opportunity to network and create a lot of relationships, right? Look people up on Facebook, LinkedIn, reach out, find people's emails. A lot of the speakers will give you their contact info. They want you to reach out. The sponsors are all available. They have virtual booths. They want you to contact them. So you can still walk away with 40 or 50 networked contacts, which is a big value to me because I don't like it when trainers go it alone. Right. I don't like it when they think, oh, I'm the only one doing this in my little corner of the world. You're not. There are people doing it all over the world.
Yep. Okay. Well, Dan, this is great. I'm glad that we're able to tell the folks about this. And you're going to be speaking on, this is the title of yours, worth a plug. Why now is the best time to start your fitness business for the aging market. Says you're not too late to get started on this. This is such a great time. You're still at the cusp of a great wave of opportunity that's coming along in our country. This isn't just a fitness thing. This is our whole, not just the United States, really. It's the whole Western world. You know, Shelley and a lot of others are coming from Canada, and we've got clients in UK and down under, because the social forces behind this are the same.
From Europe, it's not, obviously US is our dominant consumer and market. That's where we're based, but it's not a US phenomenon. It's basically the entire developed world is aging, and in some countries they're calling it an aging crisis, an aging epidemic, and I call it an aging opportunity. And I mean, it's a massive opportunity for us. Canada has already declared themselves an aged country, right? They're not an aging country. They've already gotten old, right? They've already announced that and declared that, and they're right. I mean, when over half your population is over the age of 50 and you're heading towards over half your population being over 60, that's an aged country. I mean, you're going to have more people not working than working pretty soon in Canada. So, but that's a massive opportunity for those of us that work in the fitness world. So this phenomenon is global. It's the entire developed world. And when you look in the United States, we're still just beginning to climb in the 60 and over population, right? It's not like this is a fad or a trend that's going away. It's going to be here for the next 30 years. And the reality is, we have to realize, if I'm not stepping into this market, I'm continuing to compete for the 18 to 49-year-old. That has gotten more competitive on price, right? It's like, oh, you're $19 a month. Well, the place down the street is $15 a month. The place down the street is $10 a month, and there's free donuts on Tuesday. You know? Right. Well, I mean, how can I compete with that? Well, let's go to $7.99. There are gyms now for $7.99 a month. I mean, it's like, what? That's what? It's cheaper than a sandwich. I mean, like, what are we talking about? I don't want to compete with that. You don't want to compete with that. You want to focus on the customers that really need your help, are willing to pay a premium, and typically have a lifetime value that's longer, right? They're going to stick with you for 3 to 5 years, so you can spend more time, energy, and investment in learning how to train them, learning how to market to them, learning how to sell them. Because once you get them, you have them for a really long time. So, Dan, I want you to tell people where they can go to learn more about the summit and to sign up for it. It's starting on the Friday the 13th and lasts for the weekend, right? Very, very ominous, right? Friday the 13th. There's no spooky sessions. FunctionalAgingSummit.com. FunctionalAgingSummit.com. Get your ticket. I have been warning people. It could sell out. We do have limited Zoom room capability, so we have capped it at 500 participants. So it's possible it will sell out. So I'm telling people, don't wait till Thursday to buy your ticket, because people are like, oh, it's virtual. I can just show up on Friday. You can't just show up on Friday. So you got to buy your ticket by Thursday. It's a great value. And if you're listening to this, and you might be listening to it after the summit, you can buy the whole event recorded, right? Or if you're like, oh, shoot, I got a wedding this weekend, or I got a graduation, or whatever, you can buy the whole event and buy the recordings. So you can still take in all the sessions. So don't feel like, oh, I'm going to miss out. That's the other beauty of virtual, right? Every year that we have scheduled the summit, Jay, when it's live, people are always like, oh, you put it on my family reunion. Oh, you put it on my daughter's wedding. It's like, I didn't put it on your daughter's wedding. I mean, that was when we had to do it. And they're always like, I'll be there next year. I'll be there next year. You know how many times I've heard I'll be there next year? We'd have 1,000 attendees, right? We'd have to have a giant ballroom. You don't have that excuse this year, because you can buy the entire event, buy the recordings. Doesn't matter if you're taking the family trip of a lifetime, or, whatever you have to be doing. Okay. So if you're listening to this going, oh, I can't make June 13th work. Sure you can, because you can buy all the recordings and take it in later. Beautiful. And all that is available on FunctionalAgingSummit.com. And Dr. Dan Ritchie, thank you once again for joining me today. I look forward to the event. It's going to be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Thanks for having me. All right. Have a good one. Thank you for listening to the Optimal Aging Podcast.
I'm your host, Jay Croft of Prime Fit Content. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll subscribe, review, and tell a friend. All of that helps me grow my audience. I hope you'll share any comments you have with me, including suggestions about people I should interview and topics I should cover. You can learn more about my newsletter and content business at primefitcontent.com and write me at jay@primefitcontent.com. And I'm on all the social channels. Again, thanks for listening. Join me next time.